Hi, I'm Emily. I want to tell you about my tricky relationship with my mother-in-law, Margaret. She always seemed to make things hard for me. Margaret had old-fashioned ideas and never really liked me. For a while, my husband Daniel and I lived far from them, so Margaret couldn't bother us much. But when Daniel got a job close to them, we had to deal with her more. I could handle Margaret's behavior because I grew up dealing with difficult people like my own parents. Luckily, Daniel's dad, Richard, was always nice to me. But the tough part was that Margaret spent time with my daughter Chloe, who was 9 at the time. Chloe loved her grandparents, and they were the only ones she knew well since I didn't have contact with my own parents. Even though Margaret and I had our issues, I put them aside for Chloe's sake. I wanted Chloe to have a good relationship with her grandparents. Daniel also cared about family a lot, so I couldn't just cut Margaret out of our lives. Chloe enjoyed spending time with her grandparents, but Margaret still caused problems sometimes. Margaret kept criticizing Chloe's diet, saying I wasn't feeding her right. She thought Chloe needed more nuts for protein, but Chloe was allergic to nuts, and even their smell made her sick. I told Margaret this many times, but she wouldn't listen. She said Chloe needed to eat nuts to get over her allergy and called me a bad mom. I knew you'd say this, Margaret. We talked to the doctor and Chloe's meals are balanced. Skipping nuts won't hurt anyone, but it could make Chloe really sick, I told her. Even after explaining and listening to the doctor, Margaret didn't change her mind. She thought exposing Chloe to nuts would help her allergies. I was tired of arguing with her and tired of being called a bad mom. Margaret even tried to get Chloe to eat nuts, but Chloe knew better and always said no. Feeling more and more worried about what Margaret might do, I decided to talk to Daniel about it. I'm really concerned about leaving Chloe alone with Margaret. I'm afraid she might give Chloe food. She's allergic to thinking it will help her allergies, I told him. Don't worry so much, Emily. My mom might have old-fashioned ideas, but she knows her boundaries. And Dad is always there to step in if things get out of hand. Chloe loves being with her grandparents and we can't just stop her from seeing them, Daniel said, trying to reassure me. But Margaret keeps ignoring Chloe's allergies. I'm genuinely scared for Chloe's safety whenever she's with them without me. We need to talk about this. I can't keep worrying like this, I insisted. Relax, Emily. There's no need to stop Chloe from seeing my parents just because of this small issue. Chloe loves being with them, you know. And if you're worried about Mom, I'll talk to her. She'll listen to me, Daniel assured me. His words made sense. Chloe really enjoyed being with her grandparents, so I couldn't bring myself to stop her. If Chloe had ever said she didn't want to see them, I would have respected her decision. But I didn't realize that even Daniel couldn't change Margaret's behavior. Things came to a head at Chloe's 11th birthday party. Richard and Margaret were invited and they said they'd come. Margaret seemed really excited, which made me uneasy, though I didn't know why. When they arrived early, it surprised me, because Margaret usually avoided being around me. She gave Chloe a big present wrapped in birthday paper and said, "Happy birthday, Chloe. Here's your gift. Grandma got you something really special." Chloe thanked Margaret and then Margaret said, "Wow, that's a big gift. What's inside, Grandpa?" I have no idea. Margaret chose it and she won't even tell me what's in there. We'll both find out when you open it, Richard said. Come on, open Grandma's gift and see what she got you. I bet you'll love it, sweetie. I'll be your favorite grandma ever, Margaret said excitedly. I can't wait to see what you got me, Grandma. I'm so excited. We'll open all the gifts after we cut the cake, Chloe said. Let your friends arrive and once we finish the cake you can start opening the presents, I suggested. No. Chloe needs to open my gift before cutting the cake. That's why I came early to give her my special present, Margaret insisted. Despite feeling suspicious about Margaret's behavior, Chloe seemed genuinely happy to get such a nice gift from her grandma. The big heavy package made Chloe even more excited, and she couldn't wait to see what was inside. She wanted to start opening her presents once all her friends were there. I agreed to let Chloe open Margaret's gift before the cake, as Margaret said it had to be done that way. I didn't want to upset Chloe on her birthday, so we went along with it. But little did I know what a disaster it would turn into. Chloe and her parents were let down by the one person they trusted, Margaret. She not only ruined Chloe's birthday, but also turned everyone against her. When Chloe opened the gift, she found a big cake with her name on it. She was happy for a moment, but then she passed out. Daniel and I rushed to her, scared and confused, when we saw her throat swelling up in shock. I watched as Daniel hurried to get an epinephrine shot while someone else called the police. Knowing exactly who was behind this, I confronted Margaret, demanding answers. "What on earth did you put in Chloe's cake? What's in it?" I asked, my voice shaking with anger and fear. Margaret pretended she didn't know anything, saying, "I didn't do anything, Emily. It's just a regular cake. I don't understand what's happening. Maybe something you did caused Chloe to faint. You've been neglecting her nutrition despite my warnings, and now she's paying the price. Don't try to blame me. Chloe was fine just a moment ago, and now she's having an allergic reaction. Tell me what you did to her, Margaret. I hope you didn't mess with the cake. You need to own up to your actions and take responsibility." "Look at Chloe. She's turning blue," I snapped back. Ignoring Margaret's excuses and focusing solely on Chloe, I hurried over with the epinephrine I always kept on hand for emergencies. Although Chloe's swelling went down a bit, she remained unconscious. It was clear that she needed to go to the hospital to fully recover. The room was filled with worry for Chloe. Tears welled up in my eyes, and even Daniel looked close to crying. Margaret, who was already in tears, seemed scared. In that moment, I decided to cut open the cake to see what was inside. What I found shocked me to the core. I demanded answers from Margaret, questioning her sanity for putting nuts in the cake. "Margaret, what were you thinking? You ignored my warnings and put nuts in the cake, putting Chloe's health at risk. How could you be so careless?" "I only wanted to help Chloe, not hurt her. I didn't like that Emily was so strict about Chloe's diet. While it's true Chloe might have reactions sometimes, I thought gradually giving her nuts could help," Margaret argued. My frustration boiled over when I confronted Margaret again. "Are you crazy? Our daughter is allergic to nuts. She could have died from this reaction. Who gave you the right to decide how to handle her allergies? Look at the mess you've made." "I'm Chloe's grandma, and I have the right to take care of her. She'll be fine. You're all overreacting. You're just trying to scare me for no reason. I'm sure this is all part of Olivia's plan to make me look bad," Margaret shouted. "Listen, Margaret, if things go my way today, you'll be in big trouble. Right now, all I care about is Chloe's health," I said firmly. Just then, the ambulance arrived with paramedics. They took care of Chloe and rushed her to the hospital, with us following closely behind. The doctors told us Chloe would need time to wake up and would have to stay at the hospital for a day or two. We were all overwhelmed with emotion. I broke down in the hospital, finding comfort in Daniel's arms. After calming down, I called Richard to let everyone know that Chloe was no longer in danger. When I hung up, I turned to Daniel and expressed my anger, saying, "I'll never forgive Margaret for what she did today. She could have put our daughter's life at risk. I've been thinking about how serious this is. It's unbelievable. Something I wouldn't have believed if I hadn't seen it myself. My mom has become someone I don't even recognize anymore. She did all of this just to make me look like a bad mom. She acted like she cared about Chloe's happiness, but she never thought about how dangerous it was for her. Even after everything, she still says I planned it all. Today showed me how far my mom will go to make you look bad. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner and didn't do more to keep her away from us. I need to protect Chloe from my mom's bad influence. I failed as a husband and as a father," Daniel said. Daniel was starting to realize how serious the situation was, and Richard, who had always been a good grandfather, was clearly affected by Margaret's actions. This time, she had gone too far. Even though she'd gotten away with things before, we weren't going to let her off easy this time. We decided then and there that we couldn't let Margaret keep hurting Chloe. Her actions were a threat to Chloe's safety, and we couldn't allow her to keep causing trouble in our lives. Margaret was no longer welcome in our family. We were determined to protect Chloe and make sure she grew up in a safe and loving environment. It wouldn't be easy, but for Chloe's sake, it was a decision we were ready to stand by. Following a heartfelt discussion, my husband and I quickly made a decision while Chloe was still in the hospital. It was time to head back home. Richard, Margaret, and a few of the guests stayed behind, eager for updates on Chloe's condition. This gave us the perfect opportunity to address Margaret's actions. When we got home, 4 hours had passed since the incident. In the living room, we found Richard scolding Margaret while she seemed indifferent, busy on her phone. The untouched birthday cake sat sadly beside them, a painful reminder of what had happened. Despite my sadness, I held back my emotions. When they noticed us, Richard and Margaret hurried over. "I just got an update," I said. "Chloe is in good hands and she'll recover soon. Although she's still unconscious, the doctors are hopeful." "Thank goodness Chloe will be okay. I was so worried, but it looks like everything's fine. It wasn't even a big deal." "Chloe will be fine and her nut allergy will go away soon," Margaret declared. In that moment, Daniel unleashed his anger on Margaret, scolding her for everything she had done. Richard joined in, expressing his disappointment, and the guests, visibly shocked, stared at Margaret with disapproval. I, too, was filled with rage. "I've had it with you, Margaret," I declared. "We've given you so many chances to change. Even after your actions put my daughter in the hospital, you show no remorse. This is it. You will never be allowed near Chloe or our family again. You're banned from this house. You can't tell me where to go. Your son won't cut me off for no reason. I won't let you keep me from my granddaughter just because we don't agree on how to raise her." Margaret shot back. "No, Mom," Daniel replied firmly. "You're not welcome near me or my family ever again. Dad can come here any time, but not you. He's the only sensible grandparent Chloe has. He's done his best to keep Chloe safe. But today, you put Chloe in the hospital and acted like it was the right thing to do. I can't let someone so heartless be around my daughter." Margaret couldn't believe her own son was turning against her. She had always trusted Daniel to support her, not realizing he was being rational, unlike her. Even the guests started criticizing her. Margaret felt trapped with no one on her side, not even Richard. In desperation, she screamed at us, blaming me. "This is all your fault, Emily. You turned everyone against me. I'll never forgive you for this. You should be begging for our forgiveness. Your actions have ruined your reputation and kept you from Chloe. I'll sue you for grandparents' rights. I'll take you to court, and the judge will let me see Chloe. Just wait and see. I don't need anyone to support me." I responded firmly. "You're not going to have much luck getting grandparents' rights from jail. I'm sure the judge would find it pretty funny to have a criminal asking for visitation after putting her own granddaughter in danger." Margaret protested. "What are you talking about, Emily? Why would I go to jail? I didn't do anything wrong." "Didn't do anything?" I shot back. "What you did is a crime, Margaret. You can be arrested for knowingly exposing a child to allergens. It's considered a form of poisoning. Maybe you didn't realize it, but Daniel and I did. We've already called the police on you. And look here, they come now to arrest you." Margaret, in denial, insisted. "No. You're lying. This can't be happening. You can't arrest me for this." Margaret's panicked expression showed her desperation as she begged us to drop the charges. Tears flowed down her face and she started to panic. Just then, 2 officers came in and told her she was under arrest. She clung to her hands, begging us not to send her to jail. Daniel remained unmoved, telling the cops to take her away, while I gave Margaret a cold look, showing that her deceitful game was over. In a last attempt, she turned to Richard for help, begging him to do something. "Richard, please. You can't let your wife get arrested like this," she pleaded. But Richard stood firm, saying, "When my wife does something truly terrible and shows no remorse, I won't protect her. I've warned you for years to change and you never listened. Today you put our granddaughter in danger." I was only trying to protect her, not realizing it would hurt her so badly. Please, Richard, I'm your wife. You have to help me. Margaret pleaded desperately. But Daniel stood by his decision, saying firmly, Margaret, I've already cut you out of my life. It's the right thing to do, and I plan to do the same. Tomorrow I'll talk to a divorce lawyer. I want to end this as soon as possible. I won't stay with someone like you. I'll protect my granddaughter and my kids from you. Margaret was shocked and pleaded desperately. No, 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 Richard, you can't do this to me. I'm your wife. Ignoring her, Richard told the cops to take her away. Margaret continued crying and begging for help, bringing a tumultuous end to an event that had long concluded. A sense of peace washed over me as Daniel, Richard, and I went back to the hospital. After the other guests left clearly upset by Margaret's actions, they promised to tell everyone what she had done. The next day, Chloe woke up feeling much better, but she was terrified of Margaret. Chloe cried and begged us to keep her away from her grandmother, saying how Margaret had tried to make her eat things she was allergic to. To help Chloe deal with her feelings, we got her a therapist. At the same time, Daniel and I started going to therapy together to work on our communication as a family. Having Richard's support was really important for all of us. With his help, we started to heal and grow stronger as a family. Margaret's life took a sharp turn for the worse after the incident. Her actions caught up with her, and she faced serious consequences. Once her own family found out what she had done, they scolded her and cut ties with her. Even her friends were disgusted by her behavior and stopped talking to her. With no one to turn to, Margaret found herself in a desperate situation, begging everyone for bail money. But she didn't get any help. And Richard filed for divorce the next day. Margaret was served with divorce papers while still in jail. Receiving the divorce papers in her cell sent Margaret into a fit of rage. In the following months, Richard was able to get a quick divorce, taking advantage of state laws. With the police report as evidence, our legal case against Margaret moved forward. Despite the expectation for Margaret to cover Chloe's medical expenses, her financial struggles resulted in a lengthy prison sentence as the judge ruled against her. Moreover, we obtained restraining orders to ensure she stays away from our family. With confidence that Margaret won't have the chance to approach us again, we remain watchful. But if by some chance she tries to cross the line, she'll encounter the fierce protection of Mama and Papa Bear, who are determined to do whatever it takes to keep Chloe safe.